All right, back again here. Week 5 done. Had some bye weeks for some teams finally. It's getting weird now. We're like 30% into the season. It's happening
Yeah,
fast.
I don't want to talk about it before you know it, it'll be Christmas and I'll be sad again and depressed.
I know, yeah, it'll be counting down the days for it to start again. But other than that, how we feeling?
I, personally, not great, but
That's fair.
you probably feel pretty good.
I feel something. I don't know if great is the word at this point. Um, that was entirely stressful, and I didn't even watch all of that game. Um,
I did. I watched a lot of that game and I was stressed.
I know, yeah. I was kind of watching the score. I was actually golfing during that time, and I don't think anything could have been better for my mental health than me playing
Yeah,
golf and not watching that game.
it was terrible, dude. Both teams looked like they didn't want to win the game. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
it's,
honest.
I don't know. Welcome to being a Baltimore sports fan and just,
Oh
you
no,
know,
no, thank you. I'll
it's,
pass.
it's painful.
Oh,
No, I got,
have you tried the Pittsburgh side of it? It's not fun over here either. At least you have a team that makes the playoffs in
well, that's
baseball.
fair. That's true. That's true. I'll take that.
Yeah,
But I don't know. We both suck at hockey. That's all that really matters there.
maybe not this year.
Uh, yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Side note, actually,
Surprise.
funny story. It actually came up at work with somebody I was talking to at work. Um, how are Ovechkin and Crosby a year apart, but
Yeah.
one looks 15 years older?
So this is simply how it is. Crosby takes care of himself like very much, and he's
Well,
not married
true.
and has no kids. So
That's
like
very fair.
his mental
Yeah.
state is like
And he's not
insane.
Russian.
No, he's not Russian. He has good genetics.
No.
And then there's Ovechkin, who looks like he's 55, about the same age as
Literally,
Yager at this
I mean,
point.
he's had white hair for 5 years.
Yeah, that man
No.
has stressed me out, and
I know.
I don't even watch him play.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Just how insanely old he looks. Yeah. But all right, back to the more important things other than our depressing sports lives. Big news today.
I
Old
mean,
Robert
it's
Sala,
news.
Bobby
Yeah,
Sala, first coach down.
yeah,
Jets are just being the Jets.
yeah. It's not the first coach we thought would be, but I
No,
guess
I didn't
it
think they
made too
would. I
much
thought they would hold
sense.
on. Yeah, I mean, well, it doesn't, and I guess that's why it makes sense
Yeah,
because it's the
yeah.
Jets. Like the
So
defense has been good. You fire the defensive head coach. Like what's the thought process on that? Like the
the
defense
thought
didn't throw three
process,
picks.
yeah, the thought process is that Salah can't control the team. That's my belief behind it, and it's also that um, Woody just thinks that's what you need to do. If the team sucks, it's because of the head coach, because of the leadership. Well,
I
there's other leadership on that team that obviously sucks as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean like I get where you're thinking about it from like a rational perspective. Woody Johnson is not a rational human being and hasn't been. Like there's a reason that they've been just a poorly run franchise and it starts
Yeah.
with him. Um and like all the little nuggets on it too, like uh Eric Mangini was the one that pointed out that be on the lookout if they lose this game. Like Salah might get fired for that because if nobody remembers, Woody Johnson for 4 years had to take a little break from being an owner because he was appointed by Trump to be the U.S. ambassador to the UK. So he was
Um,
going over to that game, and all of his buddies were there. Wants to win that game, doesn't want to look bad in front of his former friends and connections and everything like that. He gets, I don't know, somewhat embarrassed over there, even though the defense played really well. They should have won that game if Rodgers was just mediocre.
yeah.
Um, they lose, he fires him. So there's the first part of that of just like not a rational human being. Second part to that is Woody Johnson talked about it, said he talked to Aaron Rodgers on Monday night,
But it
fires
wasn't
Robert
a,
Sala Tuesday morning, but says it never came up.
yeah, he said
Either,
they never talked about Robert Sala at all. It was separate related, which doesn't really make sense.
but
And
that's
that
the
he
thing is like
also
either side of that is awful. Like I think
Yeah,
it was Kevin Wildes. Kevin Wildes wrote it really well. Hold on, let me double check how
it
exactly
was
what he
first.
tweeted.
Yeah,
I just got to double check that here. Hold on, I can do this. Sorry, I should have had it up and ready to go, but we're learning. Yeah, it's super weird if Rodgers got his head coach fired. It's also super weird if Woody Johnson spoke to Rodgers last night and didn't mention firing Saleh.
yeah.
So either
It's
he was
it's
blindsided or they talked about it, obviously.
yeah. It's
So there's
just
that. And then the other little nugget about him having to be escorted out by security makes me think that he wanted to go out with a bang. And
I
the
think
one
it's
person he was looking for was probably Aaron Rodgers. Also, the other part of that is too, he was talking about firing Nat Hackett after that game. That's Aaron Rodgers' guy. Like all of this points to Woody Johnson feeling a little bit butthurt, and then Rodgers just everybody just pandering to him because you can't do anything but that, and gets his way again.
yeah. I read that Woody also consulted the Jets GM, whose name is currently evading
Oh,
me,
Joe Douglas.
Joe Douglas. He talked with him, I guess, last night and or this morning prior to the decision, and the final statement was that Woody just made the call regardless of what he
Mm.
was told he should do, which makes me believe that Joe Douglas did not want Robert Saleh to be fired yet.
Mm-mm.
Now,
It's
again,
a
at the
weird
end,
move. It's too fast.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, what are you gonna do? I mean, I don't think it's ever too fast. Like, if you know, like at the end
I
of the
mean,
season, this guy's not gonna cut
if
it.
they were 0-5 or 1-4 after that
Yeah.
game, it makes a little bit more sense because like you're dealing with the New York pressure, everything like that. Like I
Well, I
understand that, but
think
it's not like this season was like totally getting away from them. Like
no,
Miami's not looking like anything. Like in that division, like you have a chance to
they're
finish
only a
second in
game
that
back.
division, and
They're
yeah,
a game
exactly.
back of
Like
first. Yeah. I think part of it is that you're already seeing in a game setting, Sala and Rogers butt head. You're not getting the results that you expected, which was every game you win, which is
mhm,
a ludicrous thing to
which
think.
is
But of course, when you
insane.
think Aaron Rodgers is almighty, then obviously you're gonna
I
expect
mean, you
that.
don't have a choice when you get into bed with him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
So
you kind of have to, otherwise, like you see him every time he's in front of a mic. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
passive aggressive. He talks his way around, you know, all of it to try to kind of
Yeah.
absolve himself from any sort of criticism, which doesn't really work for people who can read between the lines just a little bit. I don't know. It's just messy.
Yeah, it's certainly a mess situation in New York. It's what we kind of expected going into this season, and it's
Hmm.
all coming to fruition in some facet. So,
Yeah, it just happened a little bit quicker than I think you and I both thought it was
yeah,
going to
you
happen.
just kind of gotta take the good with the bad here. The good being that
Hmm.
the Jets are falling apart already, and the bad being that if you're a New York Jets fan, they're falling apart.
Yeah. And the other little fun nugget on that is what 18 days ago, Aaron Rodgers said after the Thursday night game. Well, now we have to, learn how to deal with being excellent. And 18 days later, you fired your coach.
Yeah, that's what happens
Just
when you
like,
lose two straight
I
games.
mean,
Yeah,
like, congrats,
it's not
dude.
a good
You
look.
guys beat up on the Patriots, and
Yeah, you called yourself excellence. Yeah,
yeah, like we have to deal with excellence, learn how to deal with excellence. I mean, give me a break. I mean, I
yeah,
don't want to just like openly root against teams, but
I
it's not
do.
even teams because I feel bad for.
I
No,
I
that's
do.
fair.
I do.
It's just
It's
I like
uh,
Sauce. I
yeah.
like Sauce. I
I
like there's guys on that team that I like, and I feel for them just being
yeah.
stuck in that mess more than
Yeah,
anything.
I like specific guys on that team. Sure. I like Sauce. I like oh,
Brees
okay.
Hall.
I'm not oh I love Brees Hall. And I
Mhm.
like Braylon Allen a lot.
I
Don't
mean,
care for
Garrett
anybody on that.
Wilson seems like a pretty easy guy to root for.
Sure.
I mean,
You're not gonna twist my arm.
yeah, like I don't want to see him fail. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, well he's on the Jets, so it's inevitable.
I mean, he's guilty by association. That's kind of like, I mean,
Yeah,
what we're kind of getting at there. But
yeah. Yeah, there's like nobody really on the defense other than Sauce that I'm like rooting hardcore for. DJ Reed's cool. Um, but yeah, Quinnen Williams. I do love Quinnen Williams.
Quentin Williams is just one of the funniest
He's
guys in the
he's
league.
he's a
Unintentionally funny.
funny human. His
Yeah,
his blessing himself after sneezing is one of the greatest videos I've
so
ever
good.
seen.
But
But yeah,
yeah, I mean, like
the
regardless, it's just like it's a train wreck.
yeah yeah. Of course, I can probably do that same thing though. Go through, pick five guys on every team that I like, but if
I don't think there's a
five
single one on the
versus
Steelers.
okay, that's a lie. We both know that's a lie.
Hell. Um,
And I don't think there's a single one on the Browns, actually.
Nick Chubb.
No,
Yeah,
no, he
I
doesn't do it.
that's fair. I don't know. He just
Yeah,
kind of avoids all the mess.
Jack Conklin.
That
If you're gonna make me twist my arm and say somebody,
fair enough.
That's like it.
Yeah, I'd probably settle on Nick Chubb for that one there.
Jameis?
Amari.
Jameis.
Oh, Jameis and Amari. Jameis, Amari, Nick Chubb. Those are guys that I want them to get out of
Yeah,
Cleveland.
but Jameis isn't a Brown.
No, that's fair. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see him be somewhere else.
All right, well,
Anyway, let's get
outside
into
of
some
that-
games here.
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of the Jets, let's just Aaron
Get into
Rodgers.
London. He
Um,
looked bad. He looked bad the
he-
entire game.
It was 29 to 54, 244, two touchdowns, and then one to the other team with two other interceptions there. All he had to do was just be like semi-functional, and they win that game because the Vikings couldn't do anything on offense. Darnold looked like old Darnold this week.
He didn't look great, but I also think that was part of the game plan, and I can't necessarily like blame him for playing like that, going to London.
Yeah,
I mean, but
and no Aaron Jones either,
theoretically,
but still,
like,
I mean,
yeah,
you lose
say the
one
same thing
piece,
about
and now
Rodgers.
you're 14 to 31 for 179 and a pick. Like, nervous with the Vikings at least, but they've given themselves a cushion at this point.
I'm not necessarily nervous. You were going up against the best secondary theoretically in the league. You were you weren't the road team, but you were on the road in London in a different setting, and it was going to be a tough game regardless for them. I hate London games. I actually forgot the game was on until like 10:30.
Yeah,
But my whole thing with the Jets is, and it's not just this past game; it's the past like 4 games. What are you doing with your running backs? Why aren't you running
they're getting
the ball?
nothing.
They ran the
Out of Brees Hall.
ball 14 total times. It's not that they're getting nothing. They ran him 9 times, 9 attempts. They stopped. They gave
Yeah,
up.
but he's also
It's
getting
not
you
like this game
23
is out of hand.
yards. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
he's also not, because the week before he was 10 carries for 4 yards.
Yeah,
He's just not been productive.
I just
either. Like,
but
I
I
think
think part of it's also scheming. They're not scheming.
That's where
well.
I was going to say next is like, I think, but that's your Nat Hackett offense.
It's
with
bad.
Aaron
It's not a
Rodgers
good
calling the
offense.
plays. No, it's not.
We saw it last year. I mean, we didn't really see it with Rodgers, but we saw the Hackett offense. It wasn't great.
Mhm.
Hackett was only brought in to appease Rodgers. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's
it
just
was
it's all
god awful in Denver. I mean, the only time it really worked, he wasn't calling the plays in Green Bay.
yeah.
LaFleur was
just-
calling plays, and
Yeah.
Nat Hackett was
It's
just
a bad look.
a figurehead.
The only positive thing that came out of New York was the fact that Garrett Wilson caught 13 balls of his 22 targets. 22 targets.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like, if we're going to talk about it too, and it's between the running back, or just the no run game right now, and
Yeah.
Rodgers. Like, Rodgers he's had one good game in 18 months, and that was
You
against the
talking about
Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots.
Yeah. That
It's
Patriots
like,
game, I mean, you
okay.
can go back to, I mean, obviously he didn't play last year, but even his last year in Green Bay, like,
It was his
average.
worst year he's had in Green Bay,
Yeah.
probably. So
It's-
it wasn't great. I know they don't have necessarily the easiest schedule. No, they play the Bills this week,
Mhm.
at the Steelers next week, and then they finally get the Patriots again before
Yeah.
playing the Texans. So it's not easy these next 4 weeks.
I was gonna say they have a later bye too, I think,
Oh
don't
yeah,
they?
and then after their bye, it's a gauntlet. They play Seahawks, Dolphins, who hopefully at that point know what's going on. Jags,
Mhm.
Rams, Bills, Dolphins again.
Yeah, I mean they got a
So if the
gauntlet after here.
yeah, if the
After this, they
Dolphins
needed to be like 4-1
yeah
at this point to really have a
yeah
chance at like 10 wins.
yeah if the Dolphins know what's going on with Tua by week 14, which we talked last week and we kind of gave
Mhm.
our thoughts on that, which they should, then that's a very difficult end of season schedule.
Oh yeah, I mean coming out of that bye,
That'll be the easiest game will be
it's
against the Jags.
yeah, and the Jag season doesn't start until they go to London.
Yeah, they'll win both those games somehow, and they'll be 3-3, and I'll want to
It'd be three
jump
and
off
three,
my
and
roof.
then we're gonna be right back on the wagon. I'm just,
I'm surprised you're not on the wagon right now.
I'm just hiding in the weeds right now, waiting for the moment to jump back on and get real out again on that.
You
If
are
they get
the
hot
worst.
down the stretch, ooh,
They
I'm
almost
gonna
lost
be
to Joe Flacco. They let Joe
unbarreled.
Flacco have a what was it, a
They
22
almost
yard
lost to
run?
Joe Flacco. Who lost to Joe Flacco last week?
Hey man, it was rough.
Listen, I don't want to hear any slander on Joe Elite. Dude, I don't know if you saw this. Since week 14 of last year, Joe Flacco leads the league in games with 300 plus passing yards and 3 touchdowns. He's got
That's
5.
that's actually crazy.
Absolutely insane.
Nobody's ready for him,
No, nobody's ever ready for Joe Elite.
and it's good. I mean, he's only played on teams with perceived good offensive lines,
I
and the
swear to
Colts
God,
is the best this season. So
he got paid after the Super Bowl. That Super Bowl run again is objectively an insane run. He was great in
best
every one
thing
of those
he
games.
ever did. Best thing he ever
Oh,
did.
for sure. Easily. And then got paid, started to kind of suck a bit. Then Lamar
Sucked
comes
a lot.
in, he gets benched. And ever since then, everywhere he goes, he's just playing carefree football like he did in that Super Bowl run and just launching it.
Well,
It's
he didn't really do
amazing
that.
to watch.
He didn't really do that in Denver, or the Jets when he played there.
No, the Jets, he did have that wild comeback win against the Browns.
Okay, we'll call it a half a game.
It was really like 6.5 minutes, but I'll take it.
Oh, and he didn't, and he did negative work in Denver. I think he got benched to Drew Lock by like week 4.
I always forget that was a little stint there.
Yeah,
I always
I
forget
don't,
about that.
I don't know how long it was off.
He
the top
did
of
end
my
up there.
head.
Yeah. Oh, also, I lied. He has 4 of those games, not 5.
Okay.
But he has 4. Lamar has 3. Joe Burrow has 2, and then there's 5 players tied with 1.
Yeah. But
Just
on the flip side of that game, Trevor Lawrence looked a lot better. I'll give him that.
oh, hey, we're coming around.
They kind of found a little bit of a groove going.
Mhm.
ETN did get hurt, but
Yeah,
what you lost in
Bigsby.
ETN,
Yeah,
you definitely found in Tank. Tank had an insane game. So good on him.
Mhm.
I'm happy.
BTJ had a day. 5 for
is
122 on a
continuing
tutty.
to be a very good wide receiver. So I'm just looking at Flacco's stints here. Oh,
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
yeah,
the
one
defense needs
season
to
on
get
the
better.
Broncos.
I think I do think I overvalued their defense coming into the year a little bit
Yeah,
because it did look a lot better last year, and I even knew it, and I still kind of fell for it. They led the league in takeaways last year, and like had a crazy differential too, even with subpar play from Lawrence in that. I mean, it's so like that those kind of things don't usually hold up. You don't get that
Yeah.
same turnover luck. So, some of that does need to be cleaned up too. But,
Yeah.
again, hey, season doesn't start till they go to London. Also, just one last thing on BTJ here. Marvin Harrison Jr. right now, 17 receptions, 279 for 279 yards and 4 touchdowns. Brian Thomas Jr., 22 receptions, 397 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good, man. I mean, I knew he was
Hmm.
going to be good. You want to pull up neighbors' numbers and then we'll compare? No? It's okay.
Listen, I wasn't comparing Brian Thomas Jr. to neighbors. It was a fun little piece of information
I'm just
because
messing with you.
you wanted to shit on me about
No, 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 no.
my
That
value on
is
Brian
not
Thomas Jr.
that is not. We're gonna circle back there. I was just letting you know that it is insane for a rookie wide receiver to hit 1,000 yards, let alone 1,250, which is what you were saying.
Yeah,
That's insane.
I said 1,100.
1,100. I think that we might have come down to 1,100 and start there. But for a rookie wide receiver to hit that mark is insanity. That's what
No,
I
I
was saying.
said Calvin Ridley production. That's what I said, and that was about 1,100 yards. I don't know. I didn't want to talk about the
which
Jags
which I
anyway. Why are we doing this?
yeah, which I still don't know if he's gonna hit, but yeah. Regardless,
We'll find
it's
out.
he's performing very well, which was expected. I liked him a lot. I wanted the
Yeah,
Steelers to take him. They didn't.
I was nervous that they
It
were
is
just
what
like
it is.
not going to use him as much, but
No,
they
I
they
think
seem
it's
pretty
just
committed to that.
the acclimation and getting everybody kind of on the same page. It happened with
Yeah,
Ridley last year. It took him like 3 weeks to actually get going,
true.
and then he
Um,
stopped, and then he started, and then he stopped.
yeah, I mean, he didn't play for you. That was a whole weird situation for sure, too.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. I don't know how we ended up on the Colts Jags game there. Wasn't
we were just kind of flowing,
really
man.
in my Rolodex. I mean, it was well done by us,
Yeah.
but I'll be
Well,
happy first, and then we'll get to you being sad.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say
Ravens
we're
Bengals.
gonna go from one Ravens quarterback to another.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. All right. Wildly stressful game.
Yeah,
41-38 overtime. Lamar, outside of the fumble in overtime that could have cost him the game.
yeah.
Insane. Potential play of the year on that touchdown throw to Likely.
Dude, I thought he was down 4 times, and he
Yeah.
just then he lobbed it up, and I was like, "Where's that ball going?"
Mm-hmm.
Likely caught it. I shit my pants, and
Yeah.
my
And
jaw was on the
Isaiah
floor.
Likely
Somebody needed to
again.
come clean it up. It was crazy.
Yeah. I was big on Isaiah Likely going into the year. I thought he was going to kind of take over Mark Andrews' spot just because he's so much more athletically gifted, just
Yeah,
vertically
yeah.
and speed wise. Like Andrews is sure hands, but he's a bigger body. And, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week where they're using him more in run blocking situations and haven't really been looking to him to pass.
He did
But
catch a
Likely is
pass.
just afraid. He did catch one. It was a fairly big play. It was like 25
Yeah,
yards. I think that's all
yeah.
he ended with, I believe.
No, he had four
Oh
for
no, 4 for
55,
55. Yeah, the
but
27 yarder was the first one he got.
half of it was on one play.
Yeah, and then Isaiah Likely 3 for 13 yards, but 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Like
and then
he's a freak
yeah,
of nature.
yeah,
I mean, I really liked him at a Coastal too. Like he was really really good there too. And then old Charlie Kolar.
yeah. He caught that 55-yard touchdown, man. It was good stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Lamar was fantastic again. Derrick Henry, I mean, obviously broke off that big one at the end. Wasn't too crazy. That did, looking back at it, like they did get away from the run for a little bit there, even though they were only down 10.
A little bit. It was like the whole game, dude.
Yeah, it was, or
So I
especially the
mean, but
second half. I think he only had like 3 carries in the second half. And then they gave him a couple, and then he obviously broke off that big one in overtime there. But he only finished
they
with 15
also
carries.
well, they couldn't get anything going. They're like
Yeah.
at all. It is what it is. They tried in the first half, and the Bengals were just stuffing them, and then they were
Hmm.
down. So at that point, you're not really going to be running the ball. It was exactly what I
I
said
mean, they
it
were
was
down
going
by
to be.
3 going into half. That's the only thing that
Well,
like
they were down
stresses
by
me a little bit.
10. Yeah, they were down by
They,
10
yeah,
multiple points in that game.
right.
And when they scored that touchdown to Likely, they were down by 7 at that point, which tied up the game. But
Yeah.
I guess what I'm getting at here is that exactly what I kind of said was going to happen on Saturday did happen. Bengals kind of forced the hand of the Ravens, stopped the run, made them pass, and that allowed the Bengals to get a lead and stay ahead. But
Yeah.
they stopped scoring. If they would have kept scoring, obviously it wouldn't have been a problem. You could have just let your defense do whatever and get dog walk. But when you
Yeah.
punt the final 2 drives of the game, that's going to be a problem.
Right.
against
Yeah.
the other high power offense in the league.
Which where I was going to go next is like this. I mean, even at 1-4, the Bengals are still scary,
So
especially because like
I,
nobody seems to want to separate in the AFC right now. They're still
yeah,
intimidating just because like Joe Burrow can do what he did, which again 30 of 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. Did throw a
yeah,
costly pick. That seems to just kind of be their Achilles heel right now is just finding ways to lose games a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
I'll,
they're lethal on the outside.
yeah. I mean, you saw it. 10 for 193 and 2, 9 for 83 and 2. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have a stud wide receiver and then a wide receiver one. It's not like
yeah.
wide receiver 1A, 1B. It's stud wide receiver one. It's game
Mm.
changing. It can really turn the tides. But here's a crazy statistic I read today. Bengals have a a score differential of -5 and
Mm.
are 1-4. The Texans
Texans.
have a score differential of -11 and they're 4-1.
Mm. Yeah.
Just that doesn't make sense. I mean, it
No.
does. That's what happens when the Texans one game they lost. They got stomped
Right.
by 30 some points. But it's
Yeah, it's crazy because like the Texans.
yeah,
I mean, like we talked about it before too. It's like they still haven't looked great,
no. But
like
like
anywhere, but they're
they
just
should
kind of
not have won.
grinding out wins, and
Yeah,
then the Bengals score on almost every drive against the
yeah,
Commanders, lose. Um,
yeah,
they go off on Sunday, especially I mean
yeah,
Burrow, Chase, and Higgins really just kind of explode, and you find a way to lose in overtime. It's just like it's just weird right now with the Bengals. I don't know what to make of them. I just know that I'm scared of them.
yeah. I mean, you definitely want to play him sooner rather than later. So that
For
sucks
sure. I
for
mean, that's
the
kind of been their
Steelers.
thing. Is just like you know, early seasons they just don't get it going
Yeah,
for whatever reason. But
yeah.
like at some point in time, like I mean, it's I think it's. I mean, they get the Giants this week,
Oh,
Giants and Browns the
is
next
that
two
even
weeks.
gonna is that even gonna be easy games? Because Giants and
That's
Rams
true. I
play
mean,
up
like
to their opponents.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, I,
I think that will kind of tell you if they find a way to lose to the Giants. I think you can
and
all
Giants
but
are
bury
probably
the
gonna have
hatchet.
Giants probably gonna have Neighbors back against that secondary. He's gonna do what
I
he
mean, they've been
wants.
able to run the ball too, and
And now
yeah.
Tyrone
I mean,
Tracy,
like they look good this past week, but like for the most
yeah,
part, like the Bengals can't stop a nosebleed right now.
no, no. Um, yeah, yeah. I
It's
know you wanted to kind of get into my situation. I'm gonna avoid that for a minute.
all right, fair enough.
We talked briefly on the Texans. I do want to talk about that game and
All right,
how Buffalo should definitely have won, and they played themselves out of even a chance at overtime.
was
Um,
this Josh Allen's worst game ever?
no, definitely not.
I mean, I know he like really struggled his rookie
He,
year
he
at times.
struggled throwing. Yeah, he struggled throwing the ball this game, but I mean, it wasn't his
I
worst
mean,
game.
9 of
He didn't
30
look.
for a buck
It's.
31.
I'm sure you can find a worse statistical game for him. I mean,
I mean, he did get
I
his bell
think
rung a little bit. He might have had a concussion in that
yeah,
game.
he definitely had a concussion. Yeah, 100%. I saw the play; it was bad. And then they ran him back out there. I don't know if he was calling the plays that final drive for them, or if Joe Brady just forgot that there was a clock that they needed to manage to get to overtime,
Mm,
or if they thought they needed to score a touchdown. I don't know the situation. But
yeah.
you're on your 2 yard line and you're heaving the ball down the field 3 straight times. The clock is still it's not running when the ball's on the ground. You're
Yeah.
not burning clock. I mean, the Houston still had all three of their timeouts. So like you run the ball 3 times, you gain a couple of yards, and you play for the punt, and then play defense, which has been
Mm,
showing up for you. Get to overtime and give yourselves a chance, like an actual chance, not one where you're down at 2. But what you did is you threw the ball, wasted no time, punted, and they got a good punt return back to your 47. They run two
yeah.
plays and their field goal range. Kami
Well,
Fairbairn hits a
to,
bomb.
I was just gonna say, like, to be fair, like, I mean, it was poor clock management at the end of that for sure. Because, like, even with how badly they butchered all of that, it was still a 59-yard field goal.
No, it's nothing
Like,
against
that's
Fairbairn.
still
That was
not. I mean,
insane.
that's a
But
bomb.
you
That's
should have never even let him be in that position to even
that's what.
kick
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying. It's
That's what
like
it comes down to.
that. Yeah, that's the
You
point I was trying to make there.
you could have easily gained 5 or 6 yards. I'm not saying get the first down because it's tough ass. But
Mhm.
run the ball, even if it's you, Josh Allen, bootlegging it out to the left. Do
Mhm.
something to gain yardage and keep that clock running, force them to call a timeout.
Yeah.
That's it. Because then they'll never have that opportunity to kick a field goal.
And yeah, then you get to play overtime, and
You get to
it's
go to
anything can
OT,
happen
and
there. I mean, you saw
yeah,
that
then
happen in
it
the.
comes down to who is the better team on offense.
Mhm.
And especially if you get the ball first and you score a touchdown, game's over.
Yeah,
You win.
yeah, they did butcher that for sure too.
I just needed to rant about
This
that.
no, for sure. I think that was probably the biggest takeaway from that game. I mean,
Yeah,
Josh Allen really did struggle. I
but
don't
that coaching
really.
job was just
It was
terrible.
it was bad.
It
It was
was
very bad.
awful, and I've seen some awful Mike Tomlin coaching jobs.
Yeah,
That
like
was
clock
awful.
management stuff. Yeah.
Just terrible clock
What
management
is
stuff.
it with
That was
like?
bad.
It's like defensive coaches and Mike McCarthy when it comes to like clock management. Like, no, why is it so hard for some guys to figure out? Eagles do the same thing too, where it's just like,
I don't know.
what is anybody thinking? Like,
I just wish they would have played that a little bit better so I could have
yeah,
seen what would have happened. Now maybe Josh Allen, he's half dead going into overtime. I don't
true.
but
That's
but
entirely possible as well.
I just would have liked to see something else. It is what
Yeah,
it
I mean,
is.
I really don't feel too different about either one of
Yeah.
these teams after that.
I do
Um,
slightly. Does make me a little bit worried for the Bills just going forward. Their schedule doesn't get any easier.
yeah,
Well,
like
it does, but it
I
doesn't.
also, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is just like, I mean, I feel a little bit worse about the Bills because it's like, okay, now you've played, you look amazing through 3 weeks. Now you've played two legit
Yeah.
teams and end up with
You
a
know
couple
who
losses.
I will be honest, I am a little bit worried for the Texans. Because Stroud
They're
didn't look the same after Nico got hurt.
true. That was big. Also, they're the most penalized team right now, I think.
Are they?
I think they
That's
now
kind of
lead the
crazy.
league. Yeah, well, they're young. That kind of makes sense there. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, young and bullish, and you got, big personality and D'Amico Ryan's. Like, I mean, that could, become a problem in certain
Yeah.
spots. You would, just minor thing, but like, I still think they're in that clear cut second tier because, like, in the AFC, you got the Chiefs just being the Chiefs. And then I think, you got the Ravens, Texans, Bills, all kind of just right there as like
Yeah.
kind of just shoe-in playoff teams at this point. But everything else is kind of wide open. And I still feel more comfortable about them than both. Feel more comfortable about both of those teams than I do a lot of the other AFC teams right now.
Yeah. It's tough. AFC is such
Yeah.
a wild card.
Do we want to go through your pain, or do we
I'll
want to delay it a little bit
I'll
more? Because
I'll
we can
deal
delay
with
it.
it. It's gonna be quick. I'm just gonna make it quick. Um, that
Yeah.
was a tough game. The Steelers Cowboys for all of us, not just myself. For everybody, you guys were forced to wait an hour and a half almost just to watch that terrible, terrible game between two terrible, terrible teams. The Steelers in question, it was a weird offensively called game. I don't really understand some of the
No.
decisions made and a lot of bad uh, play calls. It kind of reminded me of like mid-season Matt Canada. Just not really what you're
Yeah.
looking for. You were thrown. There was nothing really over the middle. You weren't really driving the ball, pushing the tempo, and you couldn't get the ground game going at all. And even when you did, you kind of immediately abandoned it. So I get it. You didn't have like a lot of different running backs to go to. That you had some new guys in there that you've never really experienced in the offense, but it's fine. You make it work, or you run Najee to death. He's done it before. He can carry a load. Pause. But he can do it. Like, and then you have George Pickens on a count. I don't know
Mhm.
what he did to be in the doghouse, but you can't really
Well, I can
afford to
tell you
have
what he
your
did to be
own.
in the doghouse. Did you see him running some of those routes?
Oh, did you? Yeah. Well, he was in the doghouse to start the game. It was even before
Hmm.
the game started.
Fair enough.
I
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
he
I thought
didn't
you were
look
going to
like he
mention
wanted to be out
his
there.
eye paint. I don't know if you
Oh,
saw
I did.
that.
I saw it. I saw it, but I forget what it said.
It was open fucking always.
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean,
he had that.
shocker. The Georgia kid's getting to be a little bit of a problem child now.
Um, I knew he always had a personality. He's a very talented wide receiver, and Tomlin has handled
I was gonna say,
issued
there's
people.
one place you're
If
gonna
anybody,
go. Yeah.
it's Pittsburgh. Um, I think he can't be the leader of that group. Like, I
Mhm.
definitely think there needs to be another identity in there, a veteran guy to kind of offset him, not named Deontay Johnson,
Yeah,
because
like
that wasn't
an Amari
kind of it
Cooper
worked.
type. Like if I mean, I no
Yeah,
chance the
if
Browns
Brandon
deal him
Cooks was like,
to.
yeah, if Brandon Cooks was
Yeah,
like 4 years younger, he would be perfect. But he's not. He's 32 and has a
they
really bad knee problem.
yeah they just need somebody that can get open over the middle just to kind of give Justin Fields a few more layups because
It
Pickens is not a big body and you can't just
so
keep running like you can't.
yeah.
He's not going to do as well with that.
I mean, he's a
Um,
big dude. I mean, he's not like the most muscular guy, but he's tall. He's
he's tall, but he's
athletic.
slim.
Yeah,
That's what I
he's
mean. Is he's
yeah.
slim. He looks skinny.
Yeah, I would love like a DK type in this offense, but you're not
Right.
having that.
Well, I was trying to stick
That's
with guys
why,
that would be
yeah,
available, but
I think like the perfect guy in this draft for this team is Luther Burden. He's a slot, and
Mhm.
he would just fit that mold perfectly.
No chance he
I
falls that far.
it where are they going to draft? Maybe they're drafting a 10. I don't know.
I,
I think the AFC is too bad for the Steelers to not make the playoffs at this point, but
That's entirely fair, and they're going to be
which is
sitting right there at
crazy.
8-9
Which
wins, and they're
is
going to be picking at 16.
like this is such a conversation I wasn't expecting to have at week 5, that the
Mhm.
AFC is the worst of the two divisions, because last year and the last
Yeah.
5 years really it's been the complete opposite. NFC has been so bad while the AFC has been so powerful,
Mhm.
where
I
multiple
think there's
teams
just a
that
lot
finished
more.
positive didn't make the playoffs.
I don't know. I feel like there's just a lot more clarity with the
Maybe.
NFC for the most part.
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it
that's
might be
part of
more
it too.
top
Is like you
heavy.
kind of
Yeah.
know. I mean, well, actually, I don't know. I feel like you kind of know who's going to be battling for spots.
Yeah.
The AFC, take out as long as nope, there's the damn thumb thing again. I forgot it does that. Weird. Take out the Dolphins if Tua really does miss an extended period of time. Take out the Patriots, take out the Browns, probably the Raiders. That still leaves you with
Yeah, just
11
because it's a
teams.
mess.
There's 11 teams that are going to be fighting for 7 spots there, and it feels, or 12 teams. Sorry, 12. I can't do
All
math.
right. Well, we're not giving the Titans a bid. I'm sorry. We're just
Oh,
not.
true. I forgot about that. All right, so we're back to
10.
11,
Oh,
10,
11.
11. Yeah. I did
Wait.
bad
So
math
you're
the
not.
first time there.
So you're not doing the Colts, the Titans, the Browns. Oh, not the Colts. The Titans, the Browns, the Pats,
Titans, Browns, Pats, Dolphins,
Raiders.
Raiders. I
All
think
right. So yeah, that's
probably
5.
that's 5. So that
Okay.
puts you at 11 teams there. Because
All right. So now, are you
I
including the
think
Jags? Are we doing that? Are we actually going to do that?
season doesn't start till they go to London.
All right. That's fine. We'll call it. We'll
Like I
call it
said,
10
well,
and
I
a
mean, you
half.
just said it too. I mean, if they win the next 2 in London, they're 3-3, and they're
Well,
back
no,
in the
they're
mix.
actually they're 3 and 4. I'm sorry.
3-4, regardless. It's not like anybody else is running away with anything in the AFC. That's kind of the point that I'm making.
Yeah. It's too tight of a division right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
But
I don't know.
on
It's
sorry, no,
disappeared for a second.
my iPad's dying, so that's all.
Yeah,
If
fair
I
enough.
get up, it's to plug it in, and we're gonna just look really
Fair
bad.
enough.
But we're good.
Yeah, I don't know. Back to the Pittsburgh game though, real quick. I just 26 carries just didn't feel like enough when that Cowboys defense, no Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence. Like there is no reason to not commit to running the ball in that
It
game,
just
and you had bad
it
weather.
left a really bad taste in my mouth the entire game.
Yeah,
Um,
that was ugly.
it definitely wasn't Justin Fields' best game either.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they just put him
I
in a weird
think
spot with that.
I do feel, unfortunately, we will get Russ potentially this week. I kind
I
of
was gonna say if they would have
I
won that
floated
game with Fields and Fields would have looked good, or
no,
like everything was under control, like I think it's a lot
you don't.
harder to go to Russ at that
Yeah.
point. But
So I think this is like the best bet. You give Russ these next three games. You get Raiders, not a great team. Jets, good defense. See how he performs. Giants, you don't really know
frisky.
what to
I
expect.
mean, like they're
Yeah,
gonna put up a
frisky,
fight.
frisky and fun, frisky and
Frisky
fun.
and fun.
And then that's a Monday night game. So you give him three games. It's Sunday afternoon, Sunday night again, Monday night. Show me what you got. You go into the bye. That's when you make a decision for the rest of the season. I think that
Yeah.
is your best bet. If they do it, great. If they don't, that's fine too. I'm happy
'Cause-
with Justin Fields. I'm not mad at Justin Fields. I don't blame Sunday night on him at all. But I think it makes it a little easier for the team as a whole to be like, hey, Russ, you're healthy. I kind of want to see what you have. He is a natural leader on the field. He was at one point. I'll say that.
He, I don't know.
When he
More and
was-
more
when
comes
he
out
was-
about him, and I mean, I was a Russ guy too. Like it's just like
Yeah.
that
When he
20
was
minute
younger,
conversation.
I'll say he
Yeah.
was a more so a natural leader.
Yeah.
But he throws a slightly nicer ball. I trust his passes a little bit more. But again,
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in this offense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've seen Fields. I know what he looks like. He can look very good. He can look very mediocre. I haven't seen Russ yet. He's like that fancy toy sitting off in the corner. Like, but what if? But
Right. Yeah.
I
Because
think
you kind of go like he could look a lot like Ryan Tannehill in this offense, which was solid.
he's good, which was good.
Yeah.
Or
Like
he
I
could
mean,
look,
not a top 10 guy, but like
yeah,
a legit guy. I mean, they were number one seed.
yeah.
Once.
Or what if he looks like 2020 Russ? That's awesome.
Yeah.
But if he looks like 2022 Russ, that's fine too, because you know why? We got this shiny toy that we know
the
how
other
fun it
the other
is.
shiny toy. Of
The
just
other side, we have
like-
two
yeah.
shiny toys. We know how one works.
And neither of them are under contract for next year.
Neither of them under contract. I think one of them will be. It's just we have to figure out which one. The Steelers, this is what we do every year. We play for next season because
Yes.
that makes sense.
Right.
God, I hate it. But yeah, that's my rant on that side. I think Dak looked better this game.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I think the
mean,
Cowboys are still just kind of
Yeah.
a bunch of meh. I mean,
They-
they're 3-2.
They unfortunately kind of figured out how to run the ball a little bit, but not really. They just ran the ball a lot. Like
Yeah.
31 attempts for 109 yards, all in all, is not good. But
But there was commitment. Yeah, it was 3.5
they
yards a
kept
carry.
doing it. I mean, they dominated. I think in time of possession, it wasn't really that close.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Dak
It
had
was
a
32 to
big
27.
statistical day, but he did throw 2 picks again. Again, I don't know. I think
Yeah. Here's the
we kind of
Steeler
talked
killer.
about the NFC a little bit there. I just think they're going to be the odd man out this year.
I do too. At this point right now, the Steelers killed themselves in that game. I mean, 3 of 12 on third down. Just that's gonna do it for you.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the Cowboys too. It's like the Steelers gave them this game. The Cowboys didn't go on and win in that game.
No,
game.
they
kinda
did not
just-
win that game.
They stumbled into a win more than anything.
It fell into their lap, but they did look like.
And I think
they
with
turned
the
the ball
Cowboys, too.
over down in the red zone 3 times in that game, whether it be fumble,
Mm-hmm.
interception, or just turnover on downs. They did one of each. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's where the Cowboys should have lost the game. They did
Mhm.
not. Neither team deserved to win that game. They should have just given them both a loss and
Just moved on with the day. Yeah,
that would have saved me a couple hours.
Yeah, and Cowboys next 3, I think this is gonna, they'll come right back down to earth here a little bit. They get Lions at home and go into the bye. Coming out of the bye, they go to San Francisco and then to Atlanta.
Yeah,
So-
definitely a little bit tougher.
Yeah, they got tough couple weeks there. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any
I
other
just
games that I really cared to talk
I
about.
just want to talk about Jaden Daniels a little bit. Just keep hyping this man up.
Oh,
He's
fair enough. I was
amazing,
going to
dude.
save that for a top tens, but yeah,
Oh,
let's go.
okay. Yeah. No.
Because
That's it then.
I know
I'll
they're
save
in
it.
both of ours.
He's definitely in mine.
Oh, for sure,
Um,
yeah.
and
So
then
yeah, let's get into the top tens here.
yeah. Yeah, I do just want to say Cardinals are second in that division.
Are we? That's true. Also, are we 3 weeks in a row now being on the same side of an upset alert and getting it right?
Probably. And
Because we
let's make
talked
it
about
four.
it this past week with the Cardinals. It was week 4. I don't remember if we said anything about the. Did we say anything about the Broncos Jets game? I don't
We
know if we
definitely
did.
mentioned something.
I don't remember if we were kind of on the Broncos side on that a little bit there. I mean, I had them covering at least. I don't know. But we did have the Commanders over the Bengals too. We did talk about that one too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good for us. Good for us on the underdogs. Um,
Yeah,
anyway, top tens.
we're making it work.
We're getting there. We're getting there. All right, let's get into the top tens here. Would you like to go first? You want me to go first?
You can start it off.
All right, at number 10, this is more of a projection more than anything, and I think the bye week served them well. And again, nobody in the AFC really wants to make any real moves here. I got the Chargers. I think, 2-2, but the bye week came at the right time there. Kind of like guys get healthy. Herbert's going to come
Yeah.
back. Joe Walt will be back. I mean, they're kind of coming back into form here.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think you're going to see more of what they looked like in the first 2 games. Speaking of which, I mean, who do they get this week? Just to look ahead here, they go to the Broncos. Broncos, frisky, tough team. I mean, they've been looking good. I don't know if they're going to be able to match any of that physicality
Yeah,
as good as that defense
guess.
has been, and I like that could be Bo Nix week 1 with the Seahawks defense flying around again. You kind of feel a lot better about the Chargers again out of the bye week here. So that's kind of where I'm at with them. Is like I was in between a couple there, but I think that's my number 10 team right now.
Okay. I don't hate it. I definitely considered them for a moment, but I just didn't want to give it to an AFC team. I didn't.
That's
AFC's
fair.
kind of let me down, like I said. So they're on the outside looking in. I'm curious to see again what they look like now coming off the bye. But my number 10 team, we talked about this before the show. You couldn't figure it out. It is the Bears. Yes, it is Chicago.
I mean, I don't
I
hate that. I mean, there's
it's
progress happening
it
there.
yeah. Caleb looked pretty good this week. Best game of his career, his illustrious career. He finally figured out how to hook up with DJ Moore, which proved me wrong in my predictions. So I'm very happy that they kind of got that going.
Yeah, I like that. I saw too. Caleb in his last 3, he's like 67% completions, 275. He's leading the league in 25-yard plays. I think.
Yeah, I mean
I
he
think
has
he's got like
weapons.
11 in the last 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the man has more weapons than I ever planned to own in my life. So
For real. Yeah, I mean they got the run game going. The defense has been good every week. It's really just been getting the run game going for them and letting him be a little bit more comfortable and not have to run for his life all the time. And
DeAndre Swift finally remembered how to play football again. So that's
true.
something.
Yeah, I mean I was still just a little hesitant on it. I mean I was obviously early to the party on that one too. Like I had them as a playoff team. I thought I
right
still
now
think
they
there's
are, so
I still think there's a way for them to get to 10 wins because I think that's about where I had them.
Yeah, I think they
Before
do
the season,
they have a weird stretch coming up here, but I think their season ends pretty mediocrely.
they get
So.
all their divisional games are late, all of them. So that's a little scary. That's not it's not good in theory, but I think because you're watching them get better every week, especially Caleb get better every week. By that time, like, is it going to be like you can make the argument for it? Okay, you're going to get a comfortable, confident Caleb and a complete team at that point when they get all those divisional games.
I am just realizing now I have the entirety of the NFC North on this list, which is crazy to like
I
realize. You
do
have
not.
two of them. No, you have two of them.
Yeah, I
Um,
do have two of them.
just I'll just jump into my next team here at 9. It's the Packers.
All right.
I know they just missed your list. We talked about that before the show.
Mm-hmm.
I went with them for the simple fact of they did play slightly sloppy there at the end of that game, but it's just showing me more so that once Jordan Love gets acclimated more and more, this offense is going to be running full speed ahead, and
Yeah.
it's so scary. And their defense is continuing to play well. So once they all get on the same page, that entire division is just going to be a menace
Oh, I
to
mean,
society,
that division is easily the best division in football at this moment.
which is not something we expected to say going into the season.
I mean, I did say
Our
the Vikings
best,
were probably going to be the best fourth place team in the
instead they're
league. I did say that.
the best first place team. So,
I didn't see coming. That's insane.
yeah.
But I'm still,
So
again, as much as I love Darnold.
I think the Packers are moving in the right direction here, and will continue to do so. That's just kind of where I'm at, and with what I've seen with their
Yeah, I
play
don't
these
hate
past
that.
2
Like
weeks.
and you trust LaFleur a lot too.
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, you
just
trust that coach,
yeah,
and I
it's
trust that Jordan Love's going to continue to improve upon his own play. That offense is going to continue to mesh. I mean, Tucker Kraft caught 3 touchdown passes this week, which is absolutely absurd.
wild,
Good for
just out
him.
of nowhere.
I'm
Yeah,
happy.
no,
He's probably tight end 1 now in the season. I don't. Again, don't
probably.
play a tight end if you don't have to, boys and girls.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that pick at 9. I do still have the Seahawks at 9, despite that loss. Giants are weird right now. Also, I kind of just take that as a little bit of a throwaway game. Um,
Yeah, I guess,
you know,
but like you
I
shouldn't
think
lose those.
you shouldn't. You shouldn't. I just, in their defense, you go to the Lions on a Monday night. That place is wild. Jared Goff, I mean, the Lions do kind of light you up a little bit, but like, yeah, you still have a chance to kind of get back into that game the whole time. Come back. That's not a short flight from Detroit back into Seattle. And then you get Giants on a short week. I mean, you can make the argument it's just a clunky week. You just kind of come out a little flat, and
Yeah,
they didn't look great to start that game. So I still am kind of buying them
okay. I'm not
right
saying
now.
I'm
So
not buying them. I just
yeah,
have to
I
knock
still
them
feel a little bit better.
little bit.
I completely understand that as well.
I mean,
That's
I've
kind of
had them and the Bucks were my 9 and 10 last week. They both lost. I drop them both off. That's just kind of
that's
how it
fair.
goes.
Yeah,
Especially when you're when you're
don't
fringe
disagree.
teams like that. If you lose close games that you could have won or should have won,
Mm.
I'm not gonna keep you up there.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Mine, I guess, is a little bit. I think I have a few more layers to my top tens
No,
than you do. You're taking a little bit more of a face value. Mine's got some depth
you
to it.
well you're predicting too much where I'm
Yeah,
analyzing
mine is a
week
little bit
by week.
looking ahead. Yeah, no,
Which
that's
isn't
also
what
true.
this top ten's for, Asher. We discussed this, but it's okay.
It's my top 10. You have your own top 10.
I'm not disagreeing with you, man. All right,
Number
who's
8.
in your 8?
I got the Bills.
You got the Bills. Okay,
I got the
I have the
Bills.
Bills at I have the Bills at 7.
Who do you have at 8?
I'm the Falcons.
All right, fair enough. No,
Do you have the Falcons in your top 10?
I do, but I have
Okay.
the Bills at 8 and the Texans at 7.
Oh, interesting.
Kind of I dropped both of them a little bit because like
Interesting.
I'm not. Yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
feel
we talked
much
about that
different
game a little
about
bit.
either one of them. Like
Yeah,
I just put the
interesting.
Texans
Okay.
ahead of the Bills because like they won, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where the winning comes into play for me. I still think they're right there. I mean, they're playoff teams, everything like that. It's just I need more juice from both of them
I get that. I
before I
definitely
move
get
them back up. That's kind of about or how I feel with them.
Yeah, I mean, I had to drop the Bills again after that loss. It hurts.
Mm.
That's why they kind of landed there at 7. I mean, and the reason I picked them over the Falcons is I like them more than the Falcons. I think they're a better team than Atlanta is. I
Hmm.
think head to head, Buffalo wins probably 4 and 5 times. Um,
See, I don't know about that because I have the Falcons at 6 above both of
well,
these
I
teams.
assumed you had the Falcons at 6.
Yeah,
Remember, Asher, this is a
that's true.
subjective list that we created in our own mental.
That's fair.
Um,
But yeah,
but
I'll get them the
I
Falcons
I
then.
do like I do like the Falcons. Clearly, they're on my
Hmm.
list.
Oh yeah.
They've had a very difficult schedule to start the season, and they're kind of
Hmm.
evening out now a bit. And the win against the Bucks on Thursday night last week, which feels like forever ago now, was huge. It was huge for them. They needed
Oh,
that.
definitely showed some stones,
Yeah. So I mean that might have been one of Kirk Cousins' best games he's ever played in his career.
if not the
So
best. Yeah.
yeah. So good on him. I think that's a kind of like a foresight into what you're getting the rest of the season a little bit with that offense. And as long as that offense continues to improve at the same level that their defense plays,
Hmm.
they're going to be a pretty scary team here down the stretch. So good on them.
Yeah, that's kind of how
And
I'm
yeah,
at with the Falcons there too. I think you're starting to see like, I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't throwing for 500 yards every week.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think you're seeing they're kind of coming together finally. Cousins looks more comfortable again, especially again after week one it was rough, um, everything like that. Like it's they're looking more like a complete team,
yeah,
and that's where I do kind of have them over the Texans and the Bills right now. Is that they do look like a cohesive group. They have legitimate weapons on the outside that the Bills don't have right now. I mean, you're
yeah.
running with Khalil Shakir. Keon Coleman is kind of getting going. I mean, Curtis,
Going,
it's
but
like
he caught one pass
it's
on
just
Sunday.
exactly. It's just like they just kind of have like guys right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the
It's
Falcons,
just
they have. I mean, Drake London is like a legitimate piece. Bijan is a legitimate piece. I mean, James Cook is too, but like when the defense
yeah.
has more pieces to it, not just you know living off of Sean McDermott's coaching.
Yeah. I I agree.
Sorry to keep you
Sorry.
up.
No, 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 no. I'll be up for a while after this. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just it kind of comes down to just preference a little bit and who I
Hmm.
believe in more. That's really it. I do love Raheem Morris, so hopefully he gets the Falcons going.
Yeah.
Um, so you had Bills at 7, Texans at 6.
I
We
had
talked
Bills
about
at 8, Texans at 7,
Bills at 8,
Falcons at
Texans at
6.
7, Falcons at 6. I have the Texans a little bit higher than that still,
Hmm,
um, just
fair enough.
because still a good team. I have them up at 4.
All
So
right.
I'll just talk about them pretty quick here. Um, CJ Stroud still is playing at a very good level. I'm not going to say great. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say decent. He's playing good. He's playing good football.
Hmm.
The loss of Nico Collins week to week could impact them.
I
As
didn't
long
like that
as
was the other thing. I didn't like how he just kind of like felt that I don't want to say fell apart, but he wasn't the same guy after
he, he,
Collins left
he
that
didn't
game.
look the same, but was able to lean on Diggs a bit more, get some more pieces of that offense involved, which is good to see.
Hmm.
The only, what piece didn't get involved a whole lot was Tank.
True.
He didn't really see a whole lot of him outside of a few catches here and there. Same with Dalton Schultz. It was the dig show or dump off, which
Yeah.
isn't isn't necessarily what you want to see, but they still made it work. They still have a good defense, so I'm still pretty confident in them going forward. I mean, at the end of the day, good teams figure out how to win. That's really it.
True. I mean, yeah,
That's what the
that's
Chiefs
kind of
do.
where you have
So
some confidence
yeah.
in him. Yeah.
But to now jump back up to my sixth spot, I do have my current favorite team in the NFL, the Commanders. There, God, I love it so much. The vibes are immaculate in Washington.
Oh my God,
Good
yeah.
for them. I can't think of an organization that deserves those kind of vibes more than them.
Yeah.
They had it in 2011 with RG3, his rookie year, and then
Hmm.
they had it again in what was that 17 with Kirk when they went to the playoffs. Was it 17
The
or
you like
18?
that year.
I think it was 17.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm trying to remember. Had to have been 2017 because
Yeah,
it was his second to last year there, right?
yeah, yeah. I think so.
Was it? Or no, was it his last year?
I don't know. It was one of
I don't
those
know. It was
two
right around there
seasons,
because he went
and
after 2018. So the 2018 season, I think, is when he went
yeah,
there, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
So those were like the two great vibe years. So awesome, but
Mhm.
this feels different than those. This team's
Yeah.
different. It's the offense is on the same page the entire game, and that is thankfully to Cliff Kingsbury. He's running this offense so smoothly, and just they are getting what they want every single
Mhm.
time they step on that field.
They're leading the
And the
league in defenses. I mean,
defense has been a pleasant
they're
surprise,
moving.
but that's what you get
There's
with
just
that's
not
what you
enough
get with Dan
talent on
Quinn.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
part of that is Dan Quinn coaching them up, and they're flying around. There's not the
Frankie
talent
Louvu has
isn't
been
quite there yet,
yeah
but
Frankie
like I
Louvu's
just
been insane there.
yeah, I don't hate the defense by any means.
No,
I
no,
do
I
have
think
them. I
that'll
have
get
them
better.
higher than you. I have them at 5.
I had them at 5, and I flipped them last minute
Mm,
with the Ravens.
okay,
I moved the Ravens up from 6 to 5.
all right, fair enough. I
So
yeah, I don't disagree with that. Real quick on the Commanders moves before I forget. Currently leading the league in points per drive.
that's just a wild stat, and I
Yeah,
love it.
right. Yeah. Also, I am right there with you on loving everything that's going on there right now. Um, the only reason I'm just like still kind of cautious on them is just the um, Cliff Kingsbury offenses that come out of the gates hot,
Yeah,
look
and
amazing for eight,
I'll
10 weeks,
reiterate
and
it.
then
Yeah,
it like people get film on it and it just kind of cools off really bad. Like the year
yeah,
with the Cardinals, they start 10-0, fall apart down the stretch, get boat raced in the playoffs. Like that's the my only concern right
yeah.
now
I mean,
with them is
I'll
that
reiterate
and just the lack
what
of
I said.
talent on the
Yeah,
defensive side. That's it.
yeah. What I said last week, I'll just say it again. With not necessarily with them, but like with the Vikings. Until you give me a reason not to, I'm gonna
Right.
start to believe.
That's
Until
totally fair.
until until the Commanders go out there and lay 3 goose eggs in a row on offense,
Mhm.
you're not gonna make me not believe in this team right now.
Yeah,
It's the
no,
same
that's
thing with
totally
the
fair.
Vikings. And trust me, I don't want to. I don't want to believe in these teams. These weren't the teams I paid to put my money on and back the
Yeah.
entire season
Mhm.
because I want to waste my energy on the teams that I love. I want to waste my energy on the Steelers, on the Rams. That's where I want to put my time in.
Mhm.
But I can't because they suck right now. And I'm loving everything that Jaden Daniels does.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
it's really
where
fun to
I'm
watch.
putting my energy, and I'm excited to watch that game. And when the Commanders and Ravens play on Sunday at 1 o'clock, I won't be available to watch that game, but man, I'm going to be watching closely.
Yeah. No. That's totally fair. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun with them right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Ravens at 5.
I do have the Ravens at 5. I know you have them at 3.
I do have them at 3.
I think. I mean, I
It's a
think
lot of the
they're showing
offensive
you.
side that I'm buying into it more.
Yeah.
It was nice to be on the other side of a comeback win and a fourth quarter
Yeah.
collapse kind of thing. That was nice as well. The defense is a legitimate concern right now. That has been scary.
Definitely after
I mean,
last
they're
week. I mean, they got dog walked.
you
kinda
drop
quick.
in a lot of categories when you allow Joe Burrow to be prime Joe Burrow. So that doesn't
Almost
help. And you
400
let Jamar
yards,
Chase
5
get away.
touchdowns.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
hurts you a
it's
lot because they're bottom third right now.
but that's not what you expect. I mean, but they're
No,
top of the league in a lot of the offensive stats, and that's what's kind of
they.
carrying you.
That's what I
And
was
it's
going to
good
say
to
too.
and,
It's
and it's
like
good for them because it's the you're in the age of offense, you're not in the age of defense anymore.
I would
Offense
like to see the defense get a
wins
little bit better,
championships.
so I don't have to
Yeah,
stress as much. But
you
yeah,
need like a top 15 defense to win Super Bowls.
right, and I mean, like just some of the offensive stuff right now. Ravens lead the NFL yards per play and EPA per play. Derrick Henry is leading in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, yards per carry. Like
Yeah,
it's the offensive stuff is looking really good right now.
yeah. It's
And they've
definitely
been
carrying
wildly
volumes here.
productive. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think we talked about it, a couple weeks ago when I didn't take him out of the top 10 there. Just as a team how they've been productive. Again, they're still leading, yards a
Yeah,
game, 447 yards a game. Like
yeah.
they're
I'm
leading
not
that by 40
disagreeing.
yards.
Yeah,
So that's kind of why I still have them higher. Is just because
yeah.
that
I'm
offense
not
has been
disagreeing. I
wild.
think they're gonna put together a nice little stretch here and kind of
Mm.
get back control of the NFC North. So that's good on them. Who's your number 4?
Vikings.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
I
see now. I see.
I
Okay.
I didn't. My top four is actually the same as last week, just because I
Okay.
think
My
everybody
my
kind of
top four is a little different, but yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, the Vikings for me, they won. They're 5-0, everything like that. I do think I mean the defense was still great,
Yeah.
but I think you saw a few cracks in the armor there
Yeah.
offensively. You
I
saw
I
Sam
did
Darnold kind of you get nervous seeing that, and you start thinking he's wearing a Jets uniform again.
yeah. I did
With some of
drop
that.
them from 1 to 2 just because of that same thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Offense didn't cook the way you wanted it to, and I get it. You're playing a good defense on the road in London,
And you
but you
just
still
think,
want to
again,
see.
historically, like you see
Yeah.
Sam Darnold not look like a world beater, start to get concerned that it's
Yeah.
old Sam Darnold again.
Yeah. So then your 2, my 3, it's the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
They were on a bye, so obviously they didn't show us anything. It's just they have a good team. They have a good team put together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously
It's the
we're gonna.
most complete team in the NFL.
I think so. So I'm
Like
gonna
I'm
put
just
my
trying to
faith
like
in
think
that.
about that. Like I mean, and Jameson Williams becoming a legitimate deep threat is terrifying. So that just opens the field up for so much more. I mean, between Saint Amon-Ra and then Laporta when he comes back too. I mean,
He should be
that
back now.
adds a
Now that he's yeah
Yeah, I mean, like that just adds an extra layer to them that
yeah
is really terrifying. And I
yeah
mean, still probably, if not running away with it, best O line in football, at least in terms of
okay
talent. Yeah.
yeah. And then number 1 we both have the Chiefs. I mean Mahomes kind of had his signature Mahomes game. He
Mhm.
made Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce look like they were 24 again. So
Yeah.
that's
No, I
fun.
mean,
I'm so happy about that.
right. I mean,
And
the best
Kareem
game that
Hunt
they've,
looked like he was 21. It was awesome. 21 in kicking females.
yeah, I
So
mean,
that's good.
the worse they get, the better they are. And I
Yeah,
don't know how
it
that
doesn't even
works.
make sense.
And Travis Kelce
So
does nothing for 4 weeks, and then they force feed him on the first drive.
I
Um,
knew it was coming. You just had
it,
to know eventually it was coming.
yeah, it's, I mean, I
Yeah.
feel silly for taking him out of one just once this year because it's just like
I don't.
that's fair.
I
I
don't for the
mean,
simple fact that it's a week to week prediction. It's not a season long prediction.
yeah,
If I'm predicting season long, yeah, Chiefs are going to be up there every freaking time. But
and
I'm predicting how
this
you look on a week to week basis, and the Chiefs didn't look like the best team week to
that's
week.
that's fair. I mean, they and the scary part about them right now is they might have the best defense in football.
It's definitely well coached. That's for sure.
Like, I mean, Spags does a great job, but
He's fantastic. But
I mean, just like
yeah,
across the board here, like they're third in rushing yards a game. Passing yards, they're a little bit lower, but that's just
yeah,
because, they're taking leads and you kind of have to
yeah,
throw the ball, and it's just that fear of them. What is that, sixth in points? Tied for fifth in points allowed per game defensively.
yeah.
Like, I think their turnover differential is actually not great. Sorry, no, I want to take that back, actually. Yeah, I did forget that. I mean, the
Yeah,
defense looks great. I mean, it's young,
yeah.
it's fast.
Overall,
It's
they're just they're a well put together and coached team, and they're going to continue to do that. And
yeah,
regardless of their injury woes, they're just a good team in general, and that's why they're one for both of us.
yeah.
All right. Do you got anything else for us?
I do not. Your
All
iPad's
right.
about to die, isn't it?
It is, and we are already at an hour 12.
That is true too. All right, cool. Let's get out of here. We'll
Yes.
back again, looking ahead for week 6 here, getting into some of that, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
We
we'll
will
come
have
up with something
a
fun to go about there.
yeah. We're gonna have a good time here on Thursday, guys. As long as our lives stay together.
That's true. Yeah. Charge your iPad next time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's break here.
Fair enough.
It's
All right,
just the
let's get out
time
of
of
here.
Reese. All right. See you guys.